The Ticket.
All right, joining us on the Double Tap Pub Hotline. This is our video segment as well on Prater and the Ballgame, Idaho Sports Talk. How about Davis Koetter, former Boise State wide receiver, now a graduate assistant analyst with quarterbacks at the University of Texas, getting ready for a CFP in Austin, Mike Prater. Let's bring Davis onto the program. Davis Koetter, it's going to be great to hear your voice. What a year for you it's been, your first year into coaching, and what's it like to be a part of a program that goes on a CFP run, Davis? Welcome. Great year for you, huh?
My guys, thanks for having me on. I'm fired up. Yeah, you guys hit it right on the head. I'm unbelievably lucky. First year in, and I get to be a part of this college football playoff deal. What a season it's been. We got a special group here at Texas, and I got in at the right time.
Dude, you sound totally fired up. Like you're not like, oh, this coaching thing might have been more for my dad than it was for me, or more for my sister than it is for me. Davis, year one in Texas. I mean, you guys have every bell and whistle in that facility. You're probably eating surf and turf every night, Prater, this guy at the Texas training table. But it's just been that. I mean, it's sealed the deal for you. I mean, this is what you're going to do. You love coaching so far, Davis, this year one?
Oh, it's been everything I've hoped for. I mean, it's not easy. It's been an adjustment for my wife and I. The hours are definitely an adjustment. She's had some lonely days, which that weighs on me. But I'm fired up, and she's happy. I'm living my dream, so I can't complain one bit.
This is Davis Koetter. He's the grad assistant at the University of Texas. The Longhorns are heading to the Sugar Bowl, and Davis Koetter is launching his coaching career. Davis, let's dive into what this job is. I'm very curious about, when you get up in the morning and you go to work, what is it you do? Let's kind of break this sucker down and talk about your journey over these last 4 months.
Yes, it's all the nitty-gritty, that's the behind-the-scenes work of what goes into a football program on a daily basis, and breaking down, watching a lot of film, breaking it down, preparing for your opponent, a lot of data input, drawing scout cards, running a scout team, making sure the guys are on time. I mean, you go down the list, and you're just, you're trying to do as much as you can and add value. Add value is a big piece of it. Is wherever you can, try to help out. And man, like you guys said, I've just been lucky to be a part of it. I'm really happy to be here. And
you're specifically working with quarterback in the quarterback room, or are you kind of branching out? At one point, I thought maybe somebody told me that you were going to be a GA on the defensive side as you maybe try to learn both sides of football as you continue your career and maybe eventually become a head coach. But is it mostly quarterbacks you're working with right now?
Yep, correct. It's been all quarterbacks at this time.
Davis Koetter joining us year one, working with the quarterbacks at UT. I got a couple of questions, maybe a Manning thing. Me, Davis, I have to slide in the Manning question at some point, but yeah. I do want to talk about your family and just the sounding board that maybe your pops has been, going through what you're going through. I mean, Dad's probably always been a great resource for you, even with football as a player. But now that you're a coach, it's like you're opening up new doors and windows to your dad's history and information portal. What's that been like?
Yeah. It's been really cool, and it's been fun to have those conversations, and he gets a good chuckle out of, hearing about my first time doing this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
All the things that he went through early in his coaching career at San Francisco State and, all the places he worked early on. So, the game has grown a lot, and technology is so much different. They were doing cut-ups, physically cutting film back in the day, and our cut-ups are a little bit different now. But he enjoys, I think, hearing those stories that I have in my first year, and I certainly enjoy hearing his history. And he'll tell me stories of him recruiting back in the day and just how much the game's changed. It's a lot of fun.
It's a grind, but it seems like it's in your blood, Davis Koetter, that you want to be a football coach. Is anything about you this year and this job and this responsibility either lit your fire more, or has it caused you to maybe step back and say, I'm not sure if it's for me? I'm assuming that you're full steam ahead. You want to be a coach, and this year's been a dream come true for you.
Yeah, I think it's the latter. I think it's been pretty much full steam ahead, and the hours are tough, but you have so much fun with the guys, and gosh, it's really cool to see these guys. The past 2 years, Texas have had some years not up to their standard, and then to have this year and to see all these guys, getting the things they've worked so hard for, and that all coming to fruition. It's a really, really cool to be a part of. And that is super motivating for me and saying, like, man, I want to keep chasing this in the future. Like, I know not every year is going to be like this, but this is what you're chasing.
It's the Koetter effect. I love it. Yeah. I mean, Davis Koetter with us, former Boise State receiver. Now he's a graduate assistant working with quarterbacks and analysts there at the University of Texas. He's with us here on Idaho Sports Talk. Davis, give me a couple aspects that maybe you've learned about the coaching profession that you didn't quite grasp as a player. You grew up with this game. You were hanging out with Matt Ryan when you were 10 years old, so you know football, but you hadn't been a coach yet. Now that you are, what are some of the key components that you've learned that's different from being a player?
Yeah, I think just like with probably any profession, you think you have all the answers, you think you know it all, and then you get in that door and you're going, oh man, I don't know hardly anything. And so, that part's humbling, and you learn a ton. And then, I think you have an understanding of the hours and a little bit of the grind of it. But when you're really in that, and then, it's every day you show up and you're trying to be the role model that someone else sees. And so you're trying to be positive and have energy, even though the night before you might have stayed there till 1 a.m. drawing your scout cards. And, there's coaches across the country that know what I'm talking about. But, that we put a lot of time and effort into this thing. And, that part is definitely a grind, and being the same person every day and showing up and being positive and having energy.
Steve Sarkeesian is such a big part of modern day college football, from BYU quarterback days to what he's doing exactly right now as head coach of this Texas football team. I've never met him, never worked with him. I know what he looks like, obviously, but he seems like such a cool dude. Tell me about working for Steve Sarkeesian.
Oh, it's been a dream come true. He's unbelievable. He's an awesome communicator. He's able to portray his vision so clearly. He's a super creative thinker.
Yeah.
I mean, being a part of that process is really cool. I mean, he has a very innovative football mind, which is really cool to see firsthand. And then, like you said, he's just a cool guy. He's fun to be around. People are attracted to him. I can't say enough. It's been really cool to learn from him. I mean, like you said, he's at the top of the profession, and getting this opportunity to learn from him this early on is something I'm super grateful for.
All right, Davis, you're working with quarterbacks at Texas. Quinn Ewers, future NFL kid. Arch Manning was the big prized piece. He hasn't played this year, to my knowledge. If he got in one game or another, I wasn't paying attention at that point, but maybe he has. Just the Arch Manning effect. I mean, Texas is big, and they've had tons of very high-profile players. But tell everybody in Boise, Idaho, what's it like coaching Arch Manning every single day?
Yeah, he has the name, but you forget about that. He's just a normal kid. He shows up every day. He has a great personality, great sense of humor. He to give you a comparison, he reminds me of Maddox, Mad Dog Madsen in Boise. So he has that personality, that persona. Guys are attracted to him. Super fun to be around. I've been really thankful that those guys in that room, they've welcomed me with open arms and been awesome to be around.
Davis Koetter, former Boise State wide receiver, now at Texas GA quarterbacks and getting ready for a CFP run in the Sugar Bowl. I'm curious about two coaches that you work with, and I'm assuming have gotten to be closer to over these last, and it's on the defensive side, but you certainly know of Pete Kwiatkowski, a former Boise State player, a Hall of Fame at Boise State, and just a longtime coach who just has so much respect in this business. My specific question about Coach K is, why hasn't he become a head coach? And maybe you're going to put words in his mouth that you don't want to do. And then I also want to ask you about Jeff Choate and getting to know him. And now that he's at Nevada, what kind of head coach you think he'll be?
Yeah. I don't want to put words in PK's mouth. I will say he's been awesome to be around. That Boise connection, man, it is a brotherhood. Once you're in it, you're in it. And so being around those guys, we still bleed blue, and that connection rides strong. And then Jeff Choate getting the job here at Nevada, I'm super fired up for him. He's a great leader, man. Like you said, he's on the defense side, so I haven't gotten a ton of time to be around him. But I've been running the offensive scout team, so I get to see him do his thing on a daily basis. And those guys are awesome. Been great to me, and I'm super fired up for Coach Choate leading Nevada.
Do you think, I mean, I don't think Pete Kwiatkowski ever wants to be a head coach. He's a behind the scenes grinder, kind of the mad scientist in the dark who just wants to be a defensive coach. But from your perspective and your coaching perspective, do you think he would be a good head coach?
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but yes, I think he would do a great job. Like you said, he's unbelievably smart and does a great job. Our defense has been lights out this year, and that's a product of the work he puts in. So I think he would do great in whatever role he pursues.
I love it. Okay, Davis Koetter, you were a teammate last year with Ashton Jeanty. You see elite level running backs every day at practice at Texas, future NFL kids. Your thoughts on Ashton Jeanty? I'm sure you know he's staying put despite what Sark probably wanted and was bugging you in the hallway to get that guy in the burnt orange. Your thoughts on Ashton Jeanty, Davis Koetter, as a former teammate of the guy?
I mean, what a cool story that he's gonna stay in blue and orange, and I'm super fired up for him. Unbelievable guy. Everybody loves being around him, and then it was so cool to watch from afar this year at him do his deal. And I mean, he's just such an impact player, but he's an impact guy in the locker room as well. I mean, the impact he has on the field is great, and he makes the team way better. But the impact he has in the locker room and the positive energy he brings is unbelievable. So Boise State, that's a huge, huge win for Boise State. I'm fired up for Boise State that he's staying, and he's going to be a great leader and a great Bronco.
Davis,
hopefully for
love it.
year two to come.
Yeah, Davis Koetter, we're throwing all kinds of questions at you now. I'm very curious about Washington and what's going to happen here. Michael Penix, what you see, what you know, how much you scout. We've watched Washington around here for a long time, and they're a really good football team, as you know. So when you look at their defensive side, what do you see? And when you see Michael Penix as a quarterback coach now, what do you see from that very special dude?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, congrats to Washington. They've had a heck of a season and stood the test of time here playing games and going undefeated. That is super hard to do. As Bronco fans know, they're the truth. They're the real deal. They've proven it week in and week out. Their defense is lights out. They've done a good job. And then that Michael Penix kid, he is fun to watch. He's a top class football, really fun to watch. They got those great receivers, and they throw it all over the field. So it's going to be a true test and one we're looking forward to.
Hey, Davis, was there ever an instance where Steve Sarkeesian kind of yelled at you when you did something maybe you shouldn't and you bugged him a little bit? Why don't you share that with us, pal?
Oh, I mean, that probably happens more than I would like, but no, he's awesome. He's awesome, but
totally.
There's accountability that has to be had. And no, he's awesome.
So how does it work from here, Davis? Is this a 1-year gig, a 2-year gig? And you may not even know the answer to that, but take us through the timeline of whether it's reality or your wish in terms of the next 2 to 3 or 4 to 5 years and how you plan to build this coaching career.
Yeah, that's the thing about college football and just football in general. You have no idea what's going to happen. And one thing I think my parents have really instilled in me is, you focus every day at a time, and you do the best job in your role that you can, and everything else will take care of itself. So I'm just enjoying this moment we were in, and how lucky I am to be a part of this team right now. And whatever the future holds, the future holds. I'm focused on right now.
Have you ever called your dad and made him smarter with a piece of knowledge that you've come up with?
I don't know if I go that far. That's been a one-way relationship.
What about your sister, who's the head coach, the volleyball coach at the University of Wyoming? Do you ever talk to her? And just in terms of coaching?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody on our show here has watched the Wyoming Cowgirls play volleyball, but it was an unbelievable year for them. 20-win season in her first year as a head coach.
Yeah.
We were over the moon watching her. She did a great job. And yeah, we get on the phone and talk, bigger picture things like culture and locker room and relationships with players. And she does such a great job. And she's a huge role model for me. And it's a great person to bounce ideas off of. That she's in it right now. And, in a bigger role currently, but it's so cool to hear her perspective on everything.
Davis, Prater was saying earlier that your mother might be tuned in to this interview. You've been nailing it. Great job so far, Prater. But if there's one thing Davis might have been lacking in the first year of his coaching odyssey, it's Prater's that call to mom. Occasionally, he's calling dad a hell of a lot more than mom now because he's got work questions. And mom wants to know what's going on. Davis, mom's not in the rotation like she used to be?
Oh, I hope that's not the truth. I hope that's not the truth. I owe everything to her. She's who makes it run, and yeah, she's the best. I love my mom. I know she's listening. Mom, I love you.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. She's the best.
Davis, do you know what Sunday is by chance?
Sunday. I don't know what Sunday is.
26 years ago this Sunday, inside the Boise State Student Union building, your dad stood behind a podium and became the head coach at Boise State to really launch the successful modern-day career of Boise State football. That's a very important milestone in your family. This Sunday is that 26th-day anniversary. You don't remember it. You weren't even born yet, were you? Because you're still still young. But just the whole Koetter coaching tree and where that started, and maybe your first memories of your dad being a coach, and where it really caught your attention and said, wow, this is really cool.
You know what? I've always looked up to my dad in that way, and I think no matter what he was doing, it didn't matter to me. I thought he was the coolest guy on earth. So I think, I don't remember those Boise State days. I was too young, but once we got to Arizona State and being on a practice field, and they used to go up to Camp Tonazona up there in the mountains for camp, and I remember, being a young kid and being around practice, and those are memories I hold close. And yeah, I'm proud to be a Koetter. I'm proud to be the son of my parents, and proud to be a part of my family.
I love hearing that. I love your dad too, Davis. Your dad was texting me trash talk when the Vandals were losing last Saturday. Your dad's talking trash to me like they might lose. All of a sudden the Vandals come back, they win. Crickets. I haven't heard from Dirk Koetter since. So DAV, bring it, Dirk. Go Vandals this week. Davis, just your odyssey, and Prater asked the question about what the plan is. You said you're keeping it here in the moment right now, but are you seeing a future in coaching quarterbacks at high-level football? Would you coach receivers, other positions, the defensive side of the ball? Davis, what are you seeing this year that's leading you to believe that you might have a future with this position or that position?
Yeah, just like how I moved from quarterback to receiver. I love the game of football. I'm not hyper obsessed with one position or another. I think, wanting to coach the offensive side of the ball, I think having an understanding of quarterback play is, the utmost important right there with offensive line play. So I would love to have the experience to be on the defense side, to learn a line play, to do all those things. So, I would never close myself to any door to learn different areas and aspects of the game.
Maybe we'll get him back on the blue in a couple of years, Prater. You never know.
Never know.
The coaching odyssey. Davis Koetter, go. We'll let you get back to work, getting ready for the CFP with the Texas Longhorns, and we can't wait to bring you back on Idaho Sports Talk. Davis Koetter, well done.
Appreciate you guys having me. It's always a blast to hear from you. Go Broncos. I always bleed blue. Good to hear from you guys.
There's Davis Koetter, ladies and gentlemen. That's our video segment brought to you by the Dollar Loan Center. You need a loan? Visit don'tbebroke.com. See what they can do for you. There's 16 locations soon to be opening right here in the state of Idaho. Don'tbebroke.com. Prater, let's hop on them soapboxes. We're Prater in the Ballgame. This is Idaho Sports Talk, KTIK, The Ticket.
This is Idaho Sports Talk with Prater in the Ballgame.